In the not too distant future, next Sunday AD, there was a guy named Joel, not too different from you or me.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to my review of MST3K episode 110, Robot Holocaust. After Project Moonbase, I am ready for pretty much anything even remotely interesting, engaging, or funny. Will Robot Holocaust be able to provide it? Let's dive in and take a look. We open with the fifth, I've honestly lost count at this point, episode in a row with Joel summing up what's about to happen. Wanting to mix it up a little, I guess, he has the bots play harmonicas while he doesn't really sing the blues so much as speak the blues. Into the invention exchange, Joel has a monster truck cigarette thing, and the Mads have a ski mask that can portray a robber's emotions, kinda like a prototype for Spidey's new mask. Then they announce what would have been the first color film for the cable run of the show, if not for Women of the Prehistoric Planet airing out of order. Joel and the bots are excited for the news, but the joy does not last long.
Hey everybody, my name is Joel. I'm marooned up here in outer space. I'm all alone except for the companionship with my two robot friends that are of my own design. Hey there, you people in front of your TVs, sitting along that line. I'll be back from the commercial in a few minutes' time.
Commercial sign?
Well, is it time for the invention exchange?
Is it time for the invention exchange?
Yes! You know how it is on Earth when, they have those giant enclosed stadiums and you can't smoke in it. I call it the nitro-burning funny pipe.
Sunday, we'll see Joel's lungs turn into a giant tar pit.
Well, here's ours, Jolie Ace. As you know, face masks throughout history left the bank robber, or thug, completely expressionless.
We've invented the stocking mask of the future with articulated eyebrows.
Yes, no longer will a desperate criminal go misunderstood. Now, the movie is a greasy little sci-fi number called Robot Holocaust. And it's in color.
Yay! But it's edited for television.
Ooh.
But there's more.
I know, Commando Cody, right?
Exactly. Deal with it, smart boy.
Enjoy.
We open with yet even more Commando Cody, and the riffers aren't the only ones that have things to say about these. They're so done with this serial, in fact, that they actually skip the opening credits this time, which is a welcome choice to say the least. We get our usual recap as we see Cody and insert name here get stopped in their moon tank when completely interchangeable sidekick's air hose breaks, and Crow uses the same joke here that Tom did last week.
By this time, my lungs were aching for air.
By this time, my lungs were aching for air.
Cody is thankfully able to fix the tank in about 10 seconds flat and comes back just in time to save his not important enough to have his name remembered friend. They then rush back to the rocket and get the team ready to take off back to Earth. But before they can, God himself smiles down upon us all with a film break.
I could fix this if I have time.
And if I knew how.
Try to stop them with your grenades. Okay. Stop behind a
Which
rock,
one of us is
but
talking?
I think I can blast you.
Oh, great, he's drunk again on rye whiskey.
Whoa!
Taste my steel, Jughead.
I'll ditch this car. Right.
Oh, where are you gonna ditch a high-gloss plywood moon vehicle? Ron Howard pops the clutch and tells the moon to eat my dust.
Hey, what happened?
Hey.
What film broke?
Hey.
Oh,
I'm
boo!
gonna go back and check. Let's
Boo!
see. I know it's. Let's see here.
Hey.
Is it Cambot, Joel?
I don't know. I can't tell.
After commercial sign and some nice continuity of Joel still fixing Cambot, we start our film Robot Holocaust. We get some dramatic narration while panning over destruction, which occurred when the machines finally raged against us, leading to the titular Robot Holocaust. We then watch the opening credits where our guys are completely invisible thanks to the black backdrop. Cutting into one of the decrepit buildings, we see two guys who must have missed the callback for the Miles O'Keefe Ator movies, wrestling while getting more info-dumping narration about the world and how it works, and how the few humans still alive are now slaves to the robots and their mysterious leader, the Dark One, who has somehow gained control of the Earth's atmosphere.
Hey, you guys, I think I got it going.
Cool.
Yeah, it's working.
Great.
It really is in color, too. Look.
Just in time.
The society had been all but destroyed by the robot rebellion of 33.
Oh, my hip still hurts from that one. Cyborg blindsided me.
Hey, look, it's Aaron Spelling's house.
Boy,
When
that
the
place sure
robots
isn't up to
had turned on
code.
their master, the world had been brought to its knees by the Robot Holocaust.
By the title.
Jennifer Deloria. She's a DeLorean.
Andrew Howarth.
Fine, how art you?
Classic.
Good one.
Ba-bing!
A parking ramp in Cincinnati.
I think it looks more like a roller coaster, like Six Flags Over Armageddon.
I'm getting tired of this already.
Get up, get up. That's good. You gotta want it.
As far as they know, the only other inhabitants of the planet who remain are the
Love
forces.
me. Love me.
We see a man looking on to the fight while telepathically speaking with the robot who seems to be a cross between C-3PO and the creature from the Black Lagoon. The man asks what the fight is for, and it's explained that every month the strongest humans fight to the death to keep the other humans down. Kind of like the Hunger Games, but not as brutal or interesting. The knockoff bot also mentions that the slaves actually fuel the evil master by their continuous labor, which seems like a terribly constructed system on the Dark One's part. But of course, the slaves themselves don't know anything about this, right? I mean, to know you hold the power all along but not do anything about it? That's ridiculous! As the crowd gets restless, this thing, which looks like a lobster, a squid, and a robot got caught in a terrible teleportation accident, shuts them up while getting the atmosphere shut off, which in reality would cause all the humans to burn to a crisp as their lungs exploded, not just cough and pass out. We see that not only our loner/obvious protagonist, but a couple of other humans as well are completely unaffected by this. One of them gives himself up to the fleshbot for really no reason as far as I could tell, and the atmosphere is turned back on as the humans are warned not to defy the Dark One again.
If you wish to be reactivated, you will tell me what takes place below.
Below what?
I will...
A contest, Master.
They're ventriloquisting each other.
To the death.
You know, this movie's no Rocky, you guys.
What is the
goodness.
reason for these...
I'm gonna die if they start dancing cheek to cheek all of a sudden.
This is no contest, it is murder.
Well, their corns are gone.
Hey, it's Miles Davis.
Well, it's good to have goals, little crab guy.
Ooh, sore throat pain.
Is that George Bush?
Who stands against the forces of the power station?
Restore the atmosphere, and I will identify myself.
Look out, he's got an eggplant.
Oh, my aching crowd scene.
He will be attended to, but for the moment, talk, destroy, O fighter.
Oh, what a waste of an extra. Oh. You hate to see him go like that.
In our first mid-movie segment, Tom and Crow are dressed like all the humans in the movie and force Joel to do a bunch of random tasks to be allowed passage across the bridge. You'd think since in the film it's the robots who are in charge, they wouldn't feel the need to dress up like the humans at all, but okay, whatever.
No one crosses the we zone without doing something for us first.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
You must do the disappearing coin trick.
Take the quarter and rub it, and it's gone.
Hey, you must create a severe weather condition inside the satellite.
Yeah.
Like what?
You know, the Chinese snow trick.
Oh, I can't do snowstorm in China. It's in the shop. I'd have to go get it. What can I do that's real quick?
You must do for us a handstand.
Handstand on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, and up! How's that, you guys?
Shoes untied.
Okay, and down.
The man, who turns out to be a scientist, refuses to answer any questions even though he offered himself up for questioning, so he's taken to the power station to be punished. Though the power station sounds like those things outside Walmart where you can charge your electric car, and about half as threatening. The scientist's daughter, Deja, tells the other humans that she and her father have devices which have made them immune to the atmosphere depletion. The telepath and his newly found robo sidekick introduce themselves to the others. The stranger, named Neo, is of course a member of a rebellion out in the wasteland. Each of the rebels can survive without the atmosphere without the need for a special device, though Neo doesn't care to explain how, since writing scripts that make sense is really hard, you guys. Deja and a few random slaves believe him without question, and they all march toward the power station to destroy it and take humanity back. Their first obstacle in this industry-filled apocalyptic wasteland is to survive a group of beautiful but inexplicably man-hating women who look the way today's even more bitter feminists only could dream of looking.
You breathe the poisoned air.
I have no explanation.
Perhaps a visit to the power station will loosen your tongue. Talk.
Why must we listen to a free bot instead of the man himself?
He speaks to me telepathically.
Actually, it's more telepathetically.
Sure that
My father is in danger. What do you want of me?
Just 5 minutes of your time. You know, I know you haven't really considered aluminum siding.
Not affected.
My father is a scientist. He has created a small device which subverts the Dark One's atmosphere control. He only had time to create one for himself and me before he was taken away.
They're real expensive.
These work yards used to house something called subway system.
They used to
There were
be
many
in
hidden
things
rooms.
called cities.
Set up his shop in one. Now that you know of my father's device, you need us as much as we need you.
And
We
vice
don't
versa.
need the device. I am looking for a friend.
The odds
I
aren't
think
too
he's at the
good.
power station.
And so, the new band of rebels set out on their
Who is
journey
that
towards
guy?
the power station.
They started at a landfill outside
Desolate
Manhattan.
wastelands.
Yeah, I guess it's a wasteland if you don't count that big city behind you.
They finally found the path again. If I was skeptical, I'd say that was Central Park.
Look, it's the Bengals.
Here's my mark,
Here's mine.
And that's my mark.
and I'm here. Everybody stay on camera.
No man is to be trusted.
Then how can your tribe survive?
We use men to breed with us to create future warrior women.
Cool.
Then we dispose of them.
Oh.
Look, he is
Hey,
the last man who
it's
ventured into our
great.
territory. What do you want?
A chance for a fair fight.
A knife is placed in the ground.
A voiceover
and the battle
is placed
of the
in the
warriors
script.
begins.
You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, like the way guys and gals get together and just love.
Central Park hasn't really changed either.
By the rules of our tribe, I belong to you to do what you will with me.
All right.
Oh,
What do you suggest?
Kill me. We have no history. We have always been here.
So
Then
you
there
have
are
a
others
history.
who can exist here with.
At the power station, Valeria, the Dark One's right-hand woman, who has a more bizarre accent than Ewan McGregor's Lumiere, interrogates the scientist but gets nothing out of him. Even after revealing this green orb that you can't see anything in that can help them see where the rebels are, he doesn't give any information. Meanwhile, the rebels head underground since they somehow know that they're being watched, and they also somehow know that traveling underground will keep them invisible. But there are mutants and man-eating worms down below, which their new man-hating servant-slash-helper lady tells them about. And even though simply walking into the very middle of the cave seems like the best option, they creep slowly right next to the walls they should be avoiding. Remarkably, they all make it out alive, but I thought being above ground was the opposite of what they wanted, so really that scene did nothing but kill time.
It will benefit all of us if you cooperate. Do you understand?
No, none of us understand. We don't know
Can't
what you're
understand
saying.
you.
Your stay with us could be quite pleasant if you choose to work with us.
You mean you'll stop talking?
On the other hand,
At the crystal, Jorn can see that the Dark One is aware of the rebels'
There's
every
that guy
move.
again.
I have nothing to say.
Except for what I just said.
My daughter would want it that way.
then your daughter is a bigger fool than you are.
She could just like clear her throat or
Talk,
something.
take him to the room.
Your work is cut out for you, Valeria.
Your dress
Yes,
is cut out
stock
for you.
one.
Stock what?
Stockworm?
Yes, stock one.
Stock one.
Duck bun, I think.
The caverns start here.
Caverns.
Yes, caverns, like between your
Approach
ears.
the power station.
You must be quiet from here on in.
Why?
Writer's strike.
Sewage worms.
Same thing.
Sewage worms. Man-eating creatures we must try to avoid.
They look
They're
like
blind when they seek their prey
pink
by listening.
socks with teeth in them. Hey, Chipper. Oop.
You owe me one, woman.
So now it's 2 women?
I pay my debts quickly.
Oh, back to 1 woman.
This whole movie's just socks and violence.
Look at all this water. It's sure to rust my microcircuits.
Shut up.
Valeria continues to try and break the scientist, this time threatening to send the Fleshbot after the rebels to kill his daughter, seeing as how heading above ground wasn't the greatest decision. He still keeps his mouth shut, and the robot is on its way to go on a good killing spree. The rebels are then attacked by some random savages, and a battle ensues with some actual deaths. Neo's goofy robot pal finally proves himself useful for something other than exposition by incapacitating the villains so they can all get away.
We have nothing to fear. They
But
would
fear
fall
itself.
before the might. Has the man revealed anything to you?
Just his hernia scar.
How can you breathe the poisoned air?
Well, I ran a Mexican restaurant for a while, and then I worked in the
You leave me
primate
no
house at the
choice.
zoo.
Now, do you wish to say anything?
Yeah, do you know Elmer Fudd?
Gee, I know there's an Easy Mart around here somewhere. If only we could find the city.
His wound is infected.
What can we do?
Here's someone that can help you.
damn cordless thing. This is going right back to the store. Oh, it's a spare.
Hey, it's a Billy Idol video.
They're just dancing with themselves.
Heading back to the bridge, the trio starts a little sitcom sketch which in and of itself has little purpose and doesn't even relate to the film at all.
Boy, I've got a date with the McGuffey triplets. They're contortionists. The mathematic possibilities are mind-boggling.
Hey, Servo. What's up?
Got a date with the McGuffey triplets, Crow.
Well, better bring a calculator.
Hi, guys. Up, up, and away. What's going on?
Oh, nothing.
Now back to the theater, where we continually follow the same cycle over and over. Valeria questions the scientist, he says nothing, and we follow our ragtag bunch of rebels for about a minute and a half to witness the tragedies of their fallen world and go back again. But eventually, the crew are almost at the power station and head back underground to sneak in. They know that the bad guys know they're coming, so they just head in with absolutely no plan of attack or concept of how they could carry out their self-appointed mission. After establishing yet another obstacle that will no doubt be even lamer than it seems, we suddenly cut back to the slaves who've given up hope on the rebels after being gone about, a day, and they decide to rebel too, since the villains must be preoccupied with our quote-unquote heroes. And now we have a third pointless plot thread to add to our never-ending cycle of blandness. Oh, and you know that little tidbit that was dropped in the first act about the slaves working being what creates the power that feeds the Dark One, insinuating that they could probably just stop him if they stopped working, and how ludicrous the very idea of the slaves having this info yet continuing to do said energizing work would be? Well, these slaves must enjoy living the entirety of their lives doing hard labor, as they've known they create the power this whole time!
Do you understand what you're saying?
Look, sister, I don't understand anything you've said for the last half hour.
I'm going to...
Wow, that's the biggest cardboard cutout ever.
Wow. Worst matte painting yet.
And so Jorn was finally face to face with the being known as the Dark One.
Bhagwan? Ravi Shankar?
A being so hideously expensive we couldn't show it on this film.
Being watched.
Of course you're being watched. It's a film, idiot.
It's true. If they know we're coming,
they'd have baked a cake. This kind of looks like it was filmed in the furnace room of a junior high or something.
It is called the Vault of Beasts.
Why?
Because the hospitality room was already taken.
Well, we can't just stand here. Let's go.
Well, you can just stand there. I mean, it's possible.
The warrior and the others have been gone for a day. We all know that we will never see them again. They are dead.
So we can leave?
If we stop bringing fuel to the power station, the Dark One will have no power to control us.
Are you mad? The Dark One hears of what you say, we will all die.
Korla, hear me.
Listen to me, I was in Godspell once.
Back to our heroes again, and we see them trekking through a beast-ridden hallway. And do we get a grotesque action scene with one of them getting their eyes plucked out by a creature's bloody talons, or getting their head chewed up by a monster's gaping maw? Nope, one of them just falls in a hole. And he's completely fine, so once again, an obstacle that's completely pointless and leaves no impact whatsoever. We then cut to the slaves for, about 37 seconds to reestablish what we learned from them less than 5 minutes ago. And I guess the writers thought establishing super important info about 2/3 into your film was much better than putting it in places that make sense, since after all this talk about Valeria always knowing where they are, apparently she can't see them at night, so all they had to do was leave a few hours later in the first place, and they could have avoided all of this.
Huh?
Come on, you gold bricker. Get up, you're not hurt. Come on, shake it off.
Hey guys, watch that first step. It's a doozy.
If we provide him with no energy, they just might have a chance.
A chance?
Yes. They are the only hope we have.
Please cross behind the actors, do you mind?
The power station cannot track us by night.
All the more reason we should attack them now.
Steep. They don't know if we are even still alive.
He's right.
Then we can make some
Who's the man?
s'mores.
No, suit yourself. If we wake up dead in the morning, you'll know who's to blame.
Funny, we'll be dead. What a spaz.
One of the inconsequential characters decides to forge ahead on his own for some reason, and after yet another go-round of checking each and every plot line, we see that he's been killed by the tunnel's monsters. Seeing as how they were all pretty useless as a group already, what made him think he could make it on his own? The others make it to the electrified front gates, and the Dark One punishes Valeria for stupidly letting them get this far, even after knowing where they were this whole time. But he gives her one last chance to finish them off and capture Dija. After the bot once again proves his annoying worth, his circuits get fried or something technical, I'm sure, and they get to waste another few precious seconds of our lives just laying him down so they can operate on him. The final stretches of their journey go pretty well, though, considering some of Valeria's guard bots literally just run off when they see them. After defusing a bomb, which we get to see in real time, because what's pacing good for anyway? Valeria vows to finish them herself to prove her worth and make up for her constant failure.
Hey, I had a dream about a big donut like that.
You know what that means?
He was hungry? Looks like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland.
Boy, I hate coming to the basement alone. Grandma, is it by the peaches? I'm kind of scared.
There's nothing there in the dark that isn't there in the light.
This music can't be good.
Kitty! Bad kitty.
Dark One, I assure you, they are all doomed.
Except the girl.
Of course, Master. She will be brought to you.
Wow, she must have studied at the Gabor Institute of Acting and Attitude.
And I...
Must have been something he ate.
Or something that ate him.
Jeez, somebody's been watching Alien. Go touch the fence.
I'm not gonna touch it, you touch it.
Let's get Michelle to touch it. She'll touch anything.
Let this remind you of what would be your fate.
She could have had a really good career in silent pictures.
To achieve a matching level of source input, the gate's electrification will not affect me.
Oh, can the balloon
Don't just
juice,
stand
Sparky?
there,
Just do
middleman. Get
something, will ya?
Report malfunction, report license. Must repair.
You know, fellas, it's real sad when it happens to someone you know.
Yeah, but sooner or later, it's gonna happen to all of us.
Tell me about it.
Where do you even start with something like that?
First you cry. Hey, looks like the set from The Wiz.
Spinach tin, you go that way.
What
Gotcha.
is to stop them now, Valeria?
There are more guard bots.
And if they too are vanquished?
Even more guard bots.
Who?
It's a bomb. Rig to go off with any further.
Yeah, it is a bomb.
Let
Maybe
him
you should
touch
have
it
made a
off. He'll
different
clear the way
film.
for the rest of
Clayton, do you have cutters in your tool panel?
Well, that's a little personal, isn't it?
Unscrew the knob on the cylinder. When it's loose, don't pull it away. Do you understand?
And don't breathe.
Is it loose?
Talk, take her away from my sight.
No, Dark One, please.
Taking someone out of an omnipresent being's sight is
prove
pretty tough to
myself
do
to
when you
you.
think about it.
And for our final mid-movie segment, we have Servo narrating his own version of the apocalypse, and how he, Crow, and Joel may factor in. It's not that funny and quickly devolves into the furs Tom made them wear being the focus of the sketch, and it's just really bizarre and not entertaining at all.
It was after the apocalypse. It was after the robots had taken over the Earth. There stood a lone desperate survivor in a dark, dangerous time, Crow the Hunter, and his animal boy, Geekor. The boldest of them all was Servo the Bloodletter, Servo the chirping hell beast, Servo the defiler of all that is... Oh, yeah, okay. So the lonely triumvirate strode forth in a search for the mephitic terror awaiting them in the dark, evil power quadrant.
Oh, listen, you know, Tom Servo, I'm not getting too into this. I feel kind of like King Vitamin miscast in a Sonny and Cher video. And besides, are these real furs or what?
Yeah, what are we wearing? Roadkill here? I mean, hey, these furs are either cruel or unsanitary, depending on your point of view.
Deep in the power station's smoke-filled basement, a fight ensues with humans versus robots until Valeria captures Dija in the chaos. Despite keeping her word to the Dark One, he punishes her anyway, burning off her face and revealing that she was a robot the entire time.
What a twist!
She declares in her now even more hard-to-understand voice that nothing matters anymore, and uses the power station's self-destruct lever in an attempt to destroy the station as well as the Dark One. Just when it looks like the evil robots are gonna win the day, our irritating metallic companion gets the upper hand and saves our heroes, because why should the human rebels accomplish anything themselves? In fact, by trying to make sure the self-destruction stays on, the humans actually make things worse by getting it turned off, resulting in the Dark One still calling the shots.
Boy, if I could fight like those robots, boy, this is what I'd do. I'd get me some swords and they wouldn't stand a chance against me.
Well, I saw Darth Vader do that once.
You are as good as your word, Valeria, but your use to me has still come to an end.
But Dark One, I delivered on my promise.
Life isn't always fair, Valeria, especially
Oh,
when one isn't...
always get a contract when you're dealing with a dark, omnipotent power. She shouldn't be by that Worthington machine. You know, those things are known to have a problem with their... yeah.
She wasn't wearing her safety goggles.
It's a problem.
Should have expected it.
So what matters it to me what becomes of me or all of us?
She sounds kind of like an obsession commercial.
And you and all the others will cease to exist.
Well, good, as long as we don't cease to exist. That's for R2-D2. That's for C-3PO. That's for Julie Newmar. And that's just because I wanna.
Looks kind of like a solid gold dance routine.
Knowing she's been beaten, Valeria once again asks for forgiveness and assures the Dark One that once the scientist's fate has been revealed, they'll get all the answers they need. After a dramatic reveal, we see that after being completely enveloped by the Dark One, the scientist has become an overripe piece of fruit! I didn't think we could get a worse design than the robot monster, but we might have a contender here. With both father and daughter at their mercy, Valeria decides to kill all the slaves since now they can create their own power without them. While the wine droid and Neo end up destroying both Valeria and the Fleshbot, the scientist begs for death. His daughter not having the heart to do it, Neo does it for her while the Dark One does nothing to really stop him but beg for mercy, and is somehow also defeated in the process. That's what the Dark One gets for putting all of his eggs in the plant mutant basket. And despite having no atmosphere for several minutes, once the switch is back on, the slaves are all fine. But all is not happy for our leads. Almost all of them having died, some of which I honestly completely missed on my first viewing. Neo leaves to tell the other rebels of their victory, while Deja resents him, and only the Spazatron follows. And we end with some credits, which the guys kinda sorta try to riff, but clearly they should have just cut out, since they end up leaving early, and we get to watch 45 seconds of credits with absolutely nothing else. What a fitting note to end this train wreck on.
Our power is depleted, and it is because of the traitors in the workyards of the amphitheater.
I can't even guess what she's saying.
Hey, my card opened this teller and I don't even bank here. Go figure.
What the? All that remained of Jordan was his head. The rest of his body was completely engulfed by the Dark One.
Dad, you're a tulip bulb. Honey, remember my torso? Well, it's chip-dip now.
Stay in character, everyone. Try to stay on camera. Just look up.
Good evening.
The lights are on, but nobody's home. Good pose with the sword.
You know, if they put him together with the Avocado Man, they'd make a great seafood plate.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Take out the pits. Ooh, stir fry.
Thank you, Neil, for killing my dad.
Go back to my people. Finish my father's work.
Try to find a better script.
No, leave me alone.
Maybe learn how to act.
My dad's his own favorite dish.
And she's my favorite dish.
Hey.
With the Dark One destroyed.
Oh, the Dark One.
They would rebuild New Terra.
So it would be newer Terra then.
Newest Terra. What'd you think of the movie, you guys?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
I think it gave robots a bad name.
And the host segments end just as unceremoniously as the riffs, with a letter and an announcement for a naming contest for the living vegetable, which, like the color film was already spoiled in Women of the Prehistoric Planet.
And send in your name for the plant guy, and the top 13 will be read on Mystery Science Theater.
We've come up with a few starters of our own to help you name the plant guy. Number 1, Guacamole Wilson.
I've got number 2. Mine is Limbless Mucus-Encrusted Avocado Man.
And number 3, Carl.
This is yet another miss from the first season of the show. Every single episode I've reviewed since Robot Monster, I've had at least one person comment or tweet at me that the next episodes get much better, the quality really improves before season 2, look forward to the future. And I'm sorry, but as much as I wish that were true for me, it just isn't at all. While the visuals of this movie made it more interesting than Project Moonbase from last time, and there were a few times where Tom's complete lack of patience with the movie was amusing, the sheer lack of tension and character, a vague plot, and especially seeing the same scene cycled every 3 to 5 minutes gets so tedious. And the segments didn't really work any better, with most of them being sketches that are basically reworked and performed much better later on, even in just seasons 2 and 3. I mean, come on, look at this tweet of mine from Monday night. Look at that! That pretty much sums up season 1 so far as a whole. While there may have been glimpses of the greatness to come, such as the interesting film and the corpse vanishes, and the, at the very least, steady riffing of the slime people, we've yet to get a full episode even close to the standards that come with even the earliest episodes of season 2. But thankfully, we're almost there. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and special thanks to my beautiful Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball, Kevin Otta, and Jill Johnson. My next Riff-related video will be a review of the RiffTrax VOD of Troll 2 to kick off my new series where I'll be reviewing all of their VODs. I'm also working on the next episode of Versus, where I'll be looking at both the RiffTrax and MST versions of the Jodan Baker classic Final Justice, and on my first Patreon requested video, where thanks to Jackie's extreme generosity, I'll be giving my rankings of all 8 Muppet movies. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.